Witnesses say 37-year-old Kelly Thomas was calling out for his dad while officers repeatedly tased him. The violence was out of control.
They're beating him with a black flashlight in the back of the head, and it was unbelievable. I can't believe what I saw. It was crazy. After that, my son was brutally beaten to death by police officers.
It hurts a lot to know that he died in such pain.
God never fucking hit me! And we're going! Swear it down! Shipping guns on back truck! God never fucking hit me! And we're going! Swear it down! Time and protect! Shipping guns on back truck!
And normally for a show like this, I won't need my charger because I'll have the batteries charged, but I bring it just in case, you never know. That's basically it.
So my name's Sunny Singh. I run a site called hate56.com. It's a site that I've been doing for, I don't know, almost close to 10 years now that basically involves filming live music and sharing it online for people to watch whenever and wherever. I mostly shoot punk and hardcore bands, but not exclusively, so every now and then I'll shoot like a hip hop artist or acoustic, singer-songwriter. I just love filming live music in general and capturing it, but I typically end up just shooting hardcore and punk because that's what I grew up listening to. I never took a class or anything in film or videography. For me, it was probably like early 2000s, 2001, 2002, when as a freshman in high school, friends were starting bands and I wanted to get involved somehow. And so I was also riding BMX at the time, and so I saw the video camera as a way of, one, I could film BMX videos, and I could also, in my head, help my friends' bands by filming them and get them exposure. I really didn't know what that meant because YouTube wasn't a thing, internet video wasn't really much of a thing. So in my head, I saw the video camera as a way to learn a new skill and also just get involved in these different communities that I was already interested in. I mean, growing up, I was a big Rage Against the Machine nerd, and I still am. And so for me, it all started when I was younger. I was really into collecting bootleg tapes of Rage from the 90s. And basically, Rage had a pretty serious following of people who would film their shows and then circulate VHS tapes of them. And so from late 90s and early 2000s, I was like in this trading circuit. I never filmed them, but I was getting my hands on these VHS tapes. So that is what really first got me to appreciate live video, is that each set was different. There were different speeches, different crowd reactions, different everything. And so it was through Rage that I discovered bands like Inside Out and 108, which were my gateway bands into hardcore. And so as a freshman and sophomore in high school, I started going to a lot of punk, hardcore, indie, ska shows that my friends were putting on, a lot of local bands. So I guess, I listened to Radio Rock growing up, but there was something more tangible about going to a local show with all these different kinds of bands because they were accessible. They were my friends, they were friends of friends, they were people I could go up and talk to. And so that's kind of what really initially drew me to hardcore and punk, was that it's this music community where, it tends to be like flat hierarchy where you can approach these people and you're singing along to your favorite band and the person next to you is a singer or a person in another one of your favorite bands. So it's very cool where everything is very flat level, and that is one of the first things that really appealed to me about hardcore punk, is this very communal aspect. And that's kind of why I started wanting to document it and wanted to start filming it as a way of just taking what I was going to and experiencing and giving it back to the community in some way.
About some dumb shit about a mosh pit is fucking ridiculous. It's embarrassing. I'm an adult with all adults. If you're here, you're most likely an adult. Behave like an adult. If you want to punch your friends in the mosh pit, that's cool. There's people a lot smaller than you. Please don't jump on them or punch them in the head. Everybody's entitled to this space. Take care of each other. Look out for each other. I want to thank the Metro Gallery.
I want to say the first thing he filmed that I ever played was Trapped Under Ice, for sure. But I remember a long time watching videos and watching Sonny's videos and saying, like, man, I want to be on a Hate 5 6 video. Like, that'd be sick. I think it's crucial, super important. I can't begin to describe how important it is that somebody's documenting what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like music scene is only as real as somebody documenting it, because in reality, I don't really have a whole lot to show for my life, you know? Like, I've been on the face of the earth for a couple years, and it's like if I had, let's say I had a 15-year-old kid right now, like a child, a son or daughter, like, I really couldn't prove to them that daddy did anything cool ever. Daddy doesn't have a nice car, doesn't have anything like this. You know, it's like, for me, it's kind of cool to be like, hey, like I don't know, like I show my mom that stuff, you know, like my mom thinks I'm a loser. She likes me all right, but she knows that I'm a loser, and I don't know, it's cool to be like, Mom, check out the show we played. Sonny filmed it, you know?
So I always wanted to have like overhead shots of like a band, but like you can think about the NFL has the overhead sky cam. And so I wanted to build this contraption that would let me get remote controlled overhead shots. And I didn't really want to buy a drone. I wanted to build something, because like the theme with Hate 5 6 for me is just do it yourself, build it. I built the site, and like I wanted to learn something new. So I've never taken a class in machining, but I started teaching myself how to use like tools in a machine shop, like a mill and like a lathe and a CNC plasma cutter. So this is the thing that I built. Built this about a year ago, 2 years ago maybe. It's an overhead sky cam, and basically how it works is you have these wheels on both sides, and you can imagine if there was like a cable suspended overhead, this would sit on the cables and these would roll along the cable. And so the idea is that basically I would mount the camera in this cradle, and this thing would work with a remote control. And how it works is the camera sits here, this thing can rotate 360 degrees, it can tilt, I forget what degrees it can tilt, and it would basically propel using this RC motor. This motor is basically attached to another wheel that basically drives along the suspended cable. So you can imagine it's in the air, it's moving along, and it's spinning around. So you can get dynamic overhead shots. So I built this, I programmed the electronics. I used an Xbox remote control that I programmed to basically drive the whole thing. But the first problem is I blew the motor. So this thing's been shelved because I haven't been able to find a new motor for it. The other issue is that the Electric Factory, where This Is Hardcore is hosted, they won't let me use this there. We had a meeting at the fest 2 years ago, and they were like, it was like 2 days before the fest, and they were like, does anyone have any last questions? And I raised my hand. I said, hey, I built this sky cam from scratch. Can I use it for overhead shots? And they like looked at me, and they were just like, no.
Gets them through their bullshit home life and school and work and just not understanding. This is here to help you. This stage is yours. Come use it. Count me out! Get wicked with us! Yes, yes!
Why do I do it for free? Like, that's a question I get a lot, and it's hard to say. I mean, for me, music, if you go on the website, there's like a big blurb about what the site is, and one of the things I say is like, music is this idea where, music is the communication of ideas through sound, where a band has something that they want to say, they want to express it to people, and an effective way of doing that is by performing it, and people hear it, and they sing along, and it's this way of transferring ideas and messages, which I think is really potent and very organic. And the way I think about filming live shows is that I don't own it. You know, these are experiences that anyone should have access to, regardless if they have the money to pay for going to a show or pay to seeing the video. Like, these are messages and ideas that, you know, I feel like they should be freely available, and they should be, to some extent, people should be able to experience them however and whenever they can, you know. And so the decision to keep it free and to do it for free is just to remove that barrier that might otherwise prohibit people from accessing this information. So I try to think of Hate5six as just an information source, not really news, but the information here is just music and ideas communicated within music, and I want that pipeline from idea to people to be just completely free of any sort of inhibitor, in this case money. So it makes it hard to run the site because I don't make money, but I've found ways of fundraising. I get donations, so I am able to cover a lot of the expenses, not all of them, but you know, I don't see this ever being something that I can do full time, at least in this current form.
Voices of protest are raised across America. Voices of men and women, of children even. Voices of rage. Voices of hope. Voices.
Yeah, so one thing that people don't really know about Hate5six is like it's very political. There are a lot of like political elements to it. And the reason for that is, and I think I may have talked about this before, was a lot of my motivation for getting into this was just being completely obsessed with Rage Against the Machine and what they did with like using their platform to raise awareness and just do more than creating entertainment for people. So I've tried to model everything that I do against, you know, try to mirror what they did with their model. And basically that, for me, that amounts to, you know, filming shows and putting stuff online for people to enjoy, but also taking the time to like interrupt regularly scheduled programming to like showcase something different.
Why not? Because in the richest country on earth, poverty pitches pennies on the street corner, hoping against hope to hit. Because a simple education is beyond the ability of the neoliberal state to provide. Because this one is a big one, so I love you like no one else could ever love you. Let me be your big one too. Let me be your big one too.
It was good. All the bands were, like I said, I only knew the last two bands. I didn't know the openers, but everyone was really good. Everyone had like a different style, which is nice. It's cool when like you come to a show and not every band sounds the same. So for me, it's always nice to be able to get to hear and see different kinds of styles in one show. So it was cool. Tonight was a good example of that. There was a good turnout, like a mix of people. There were a lot of women who were in the pit, which is cool. And I feel like nowadays it's becoming more commonplace for people who normally haven't been seen in pits and enjoying it, have been showing up and going off and enjoying themselves. So tonight was a great example of that. I don't know if it's sold out. There were a lot of people here, and I'm sure it was pretty close to selling out at least. But yeah, a lot of mix of people. There were hardcore kids, punks. It looked like there were a couple people who probably just wandered into the neighborhood. So yeah, overall really good.
Hate5six in the house, make some fucking noise! Hey, Night Fear was fucking sick, right? Go Bitches is sick.
I mean, Hate 5/6 is definitely a solitary endeavor in many ways. It's like I go to these shows by myself, I film them by myself, unless I have a multi-camera edit and I have a friend helping, or I have a sound guy helping me mix, but a lot of it is just by myself, and I'm sort of used to it. I mean, a lot of the stuff, I feel like a lot of the things in my life, I wear a lot of hats, and a lot of them are just by nature very solitary things. Like I ride BMX, and that's a very solitary thing. It's not like a team sport. And so I'm very used to being by myself and just diving into work and just doing it. I definitely get overwhelmed a lot because there's just so much that I'm filming and that I'm collecting, and not just filming, I'm collecting tapes from people and digitizing them and cleaning them up and then uploading them, and just, it's a process, and it gets pretty cumbersome, and there are times when I just want to stop. You know, I sacrifice relationships, friendships, just by, you know, being very isolationist sometimes and not really allowing myself a free day just to go out and have fun with friends and not have to worry about video. But for me, Hate 5/6 has always been the one constant in my life. You know, people come and go, friends come and go, relationships start and end, and that's always been a problem for me. Just not having this like permanence. And so Hate 5/6 has been my baby since 2007. It's like the one thing that I have that I know I have complete control over, that will end when I want it to end. And so as everything's dying around me and leaving around me, like Hate 5/6 is always going to be there as long as I want it there. So I really rely on it for a lot of things, just like emotional and psychological stability, just to keep me distracted from all the craziness in the world and everything else that's affecting my life. That for me, it's like a very important part of who I am. And in that regard, I'm okay with it being like a solitary thing, because I can just dive into it and shut everything else out and take it in the direction that I want to take it. Just to have that complete creative control and decision is just very important to have, because I feel like a lot of people are in a position where they feel like they have no control over anything in their lives. And just to be able to have one nugget in your life that you have complete oversight over is just very powerful, very empowering. So I am thankful to have this like opportunity and to have this aspect, and I don't take it for granted.